Delta Force, United States Army. Delta Force, officially 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, is the United States Army's answer to the question nobody was supposed to ask out loud. Founded in 1977 by Colonel Charlie Beckwith, who spent time with the British SAS and came home deeply unimpressed with what America had. Delta was built from scratch to hunt people and rescue hostages in the places where conventional military shows up and makes everything worse. They recruit from across the entire military, run applicants through a selection course so grueling and so classified that most candidates come back not talking about it, which is either operational security or embarrassment, and probably both. Delta operates in teams of 4 to 6, deploys wherever the president decides someone needs to disappear without a press release, and has been the tip of the spear in every major American conflict since Grenada. Their budget is classified. Their existence was officially denied for decades. The government eventually stopped denying it, which somehow made them seem less scary. 22 SAS, United Kingdom. The Special Air Service was formed in 1941 by David Stirling, a British officer who decided the best way to fight Rommel in the North African desert was to drive jeeps behind enemy lines and blow up planes on the ground. It worked well enough that the regiment survived the war, was disbanded after the war before it was reformed in the years after, and has been running ever since. 22 SAS set the standard. For the second half of the 20th century, Western Special Forces measured themselves against it. Their selection process in the Brecon Beacons of Wales is one of the most punishing in the world, with pass rates often under 10%, depending on who's counting. They don't confirm operations, they barely confirm they exist. When the Iranian embassy in London was seized by terrorists in 1980, the SAS ended the siege on live television in under 20 minutes, which is either a great advertisement or a very public statement about what happens when you pick the wrong embassy. Sayeret Matkal, Israel. Sayeret Matkal is the Israeli Defense Forces' premier intelligence gathering and direct action unit, founded in 1957 and modeled loosely on the British SAS. They operate deep behind enemy lines, gathering intelligence, rescuing hostages, and conducting operations the Israeli government sometimes publicizes and sometimes keeps classified, standard for any Tier 1 unit. In 1976, Israeli commandos flew 2,500 miles to Entebbe, Uganda, raided an airport, and rescued 102 hostages from Palestinian hijackers in 90 minutes. Sayeret Matkal was in that operation. Their alumni include 2 Israeli prime ministers, Ehud Barak and Benjamin Netanyahu, which raises interesting questions about what a country's most elite unit produces and what those people do with all that training once they enter politics. Alpha Group, Russia. Officially Spetsgruppe A, part of Russia's FSB, is the Soviet Union's legacy answer to international terrorism, founded in 1974 under the KGB. They specialize in hostage rescue and counterterrorism, which in the Russian context has sometimes meant hostage rescue and other times has meant something harder to categorize. In October 2002, Chechen militants seized a Moscow theater and took around 800 hostages. After a 3-day standoff, Russian security services pumped in aerosolized incapacitating gas into the building before Alpha operators stormed it. All hostage takers were killed. Russian authorities reported that 130 hostages died. Independent investigations later estimated the toll was significantly higher, with most deaths attributed to the effects of the gas. The government later disclosed that the substance involved fentanyl-based compounds, though details remained limited. Alpha Group was officially praised for ending the siege. Their motto translates roughly to, "We don't know how to lose." The debate that followed the operation suggests that in counterterrorism, the definition of victory is not always universally agreed upon. GIGN, France. The Groupe d'Intervention de la Gendarmerie Nationale was founded in 1974 after the Munich Olympic massacre convinced France that it was not prepared. GIGN sits inside the French gendarmerie, making them simultaneously law enforcement and military, a combination that gives them legal authority to operate domestically in ways most special forces units cannot. They've conducted thousands of missions and freed over hundreds of hostages without losing a single operator in a rescue. In 1994, Air France Flight 8969 was hijacked by terrorists who planned to crash the aircraft into the Eiffel Tower. GIGN stormed the plane on the tarmac in Marseille in 15 minutes. 4 hijackers were killed. 3 passengers had already been murdered during the hijacking in Algeria before the aircraft reached France. During the assault, several passengers were wounded, but the remaining approximately 200 hostages were rescued alive. DEVGRU, United States Navy. DEVGRU, officially Naval Special Warfare Development Group, formerly known as SEAL Team 6, is what happens when you take the Navy's most highly trained operators and tell them the regular SEALs aren't good enough. Founded in 1980 by Richard Marchenko, a Vietnam veteran who named the unit SEAL Team 6 to trick the Soviets into thinking there were at least 5 more. There weren't. DEVGRU specializes in direct action and hostage rescue, operates in assault teams of 8 to 16, and is based at Dam Neck, Virginia, in a facility that looks aggressively ordinary. In May 2011, they killed Osama bin Laden in a compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, during a 45-minute operation that turned one of the most secretive units in the Navy into the most famous one in the world. The irony has never been acknowledged officially. GSG-9, Germany. Germany's GSG-9 was founded in 1972, directly after Munich, when Palestinian terrorists killed 11 Israeli athletes and German security forces proved catastrophically unready. The West Germans learned from the failure by building one of the most technically sophisticated counterterrorism units in the world. In 1977, GSG-9 flew to Mogadishu, Somalia, stormed a hijacked Lufthansa aircraft in 7 minutes, and rescued all 86 hostages. 3 of the 4 hijackers were killed, 1 was wounded. Not one hostage was harmed. It remains one of the cleanest hostage rescue operations in recorded history, and Germany has not been shy about mentioning it. They shouldn't be. JTF-2, Canada. Joint Task Force 2 is Canada's primary special operations unit, founded in 1993 when it became clear that policing and counterterrorism required different skill sets. JTF-2 is based in Dwyer Hill, Ontario. Their operations, personnel count, and budget are classified to a degree unusual even by Special Forces standards. What is known, they've deployed to Afghanistan, Haiti, and multiple theaters the Canadian government has quietly declined to specify. A sniper attached to a JTF-2 operation in Iraq in 2017 confirmed a kill at 3,540 meters, over 2 miles, a shot so long that the target was dead before the sound of the rifle reached him. Canada has not loudly publicized this. Canada is polite that way. SASR, Australia. The Special Air Service Regiment is Australia's Tier 1 Special Operations Force, founded in 1957 and, like everyone else on this list, modeled on the British SAS, which must be gratifying for the British. SASR is based in Swanbourne, Western Australia, and is deployed to Borneo, Vietnam, East Timor, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Their selection process often passes below 20% of candidates. In Afghanistan, SASR operated for nearly 2 decades, conducting direct action raids and reconnaissance. In 2020, the Brereton Report, a 465-page inquiry commissioned by the Australian government, found credible evidence of unlawful killings by some members during those deployments. Several cases were referred for criminal investigation. The regiment continues to operate. Some institutions are bigger than any individual failure, and some failures are bigger than the institution would like to admit. GRUM, Poland. Poland's GRUM, which stands for Grupa Reagowania Operacyjnego Manewrowego and also means thunder in Polish because acronyms that double as weather events are motivating, was founded in 1990 and is widely considered the most capable special operations unit in Eastern Europe. GRUM trained alongside Delta Force and DEVGRU, deployed to Haiti, Afghanistan, Iraq, and the Persian Gulf, and participated in the 2003 invasion of Iraq, securing key oil infrastructure before it could be sabotaged. They're small, estimated at several hundred operators, secretive, and professional in a way that makes their NATO partners pay attention. Created during Poland's post-Cold War transition, GRUM was designated to give the country a modern, NATO interoperable special operations capability. It didn't take long for that capability to be tested. GRUM found plenty of work. SSG, Pakistan. Pakistan's Special Service Group, the Black Storks, named for their distinctive headgear, was founded in 1956 with American and British assistance during the early Cold War. They are trained for all-terrain warfare from the Himalayan passes on the Chinese border to the Afghan frontier to the deserts near India, which is less a tactical specialty and more a description of Pakistan's actual geography. Selection is modeled on British standards, with a documented failure rate of above 80%. There are approximately 2,000 SSG operators. Pakistan has a lot of frontier and several active insurgencies. The two facts are related. Recce's, South Africa. South Africa's Special Forces Brigade, the Recce's, short for Reconnaissance Commandos, was founded in 1969 and spent the following 2 decades conducting some of the most sustained special operations in the Cold War's African theater, most of which the South African government is not eager to elaborate on. Recce's operated deep inside Angola, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Zambia during the Bush War years, running months-long covert missions with minimal support. Selection involves a brutally cold swim test at Durban that has ended careers before they started. After apartheid ended, the Recce's were integrated into the new South African National Defense Force. The institutional knowledge survived the political transition. The water is still cold. COPAS, Indonesia. Indonesia's COPAS, Komando Pasukan Khusus, is the Indonesian Army's Special Forces Command, founded in 1952 after independence and shaped by decades of internal counterinsurgency across East Timor, Papua, and Aceh. They are technically proficient, physically demanding in selection, and have been trained periodically by American, British, and Australian forces, training that has been suspended and resumed depending on which human rights reports were circulating that year. COPAS operates across an archipelago of 17,000 islands with active separatist movements on several of them. The geography alone makes the job complicated. The politics make it harder. 707th Special Mission Battalion, South Korea. South Korea's 707th Special Mission Battalion was founded in 1982, shaped in part by the lessons of Munich, though equally driven by the ever-present threat of North Korean infiltration. The 707th specializes in hostage rescue and counter-terrorism on the Korean peninsula, which means they train constantly for scenarios involving North Korean infiltration, tunnels under the DMZ, and urban combat in a city of 10 million people. They don't appear in many headlines. On the Korean peninsula, never appearing in any headlines is the whole point. BOPE, Brazil. Brazil's Batalhão de Operação Polícias Especiais is Rio de Janeiro's elite police tactical unit, not technically a military force, but operating in urban combat zones inside their own city that most military units would never see in a lifetime. Founded in 1978, BOPE deploys into Rio's favelas with armored vehicles, assault rifles, and a skull and crossed pistols insignia they did not choose ironically. Their operational environment is urban warfare inside a civilian city, fighting organized criminal militias that control entire neighborhoods and are often better armed than developing world militaries. BOPE has been praised for tactical effectiveness and investigated for human rights abuses, sometimes in the same week. Their motto translates roughly to knife in the skull, victory over death. Given what the favelas look like during an operation, that is not an exaggeration. Every unit on this list was built for the same reason. The world keeps producing problems that ordinary soldiers can't solve. If the American ones caught your attention, go watch our video on what it's actually like to be inside every elite US Special Ops unit. And remember to subscribe for more.